today. I want to talk about messaging today. I want to talk about your niche and messaging. You need to know specifically who you are talking to, who you want to be talking to, who you serve, and what you solve. You are not standing on a street corner in New York with a megaphone spouting scriptures and prophecy. I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do, but you don't have a captive audience. Not making fun of street preachers. I'm a preacher's daughter, but my dad had a pulpit and a church and people in the pews that were paying attention, right? So you need to know who you're speaking to. Otherwise, you don't know what content to create or how to resonate with your audience. Last week, we did an exercise, a fun exercise, I think. I'm a nerd though, but a fun exercise of knowing your client's currency. Russell, I'm gonna unmute you so you can, do you remember that exercise we did last week? Speaking in the client's currency and then 5 of their keywords. Were you here for that?
I do.
Okay, tell everybody else what we talked about and what it means.
Well, this is putting me on the spot.
It is.
It means meeting your client where you're at. It means that if you're going to use technical jargon, it's technical jargon that they know and understand. If you're going to be talking about the pain points, then it needs to be pain points that they've conveyed to you. If it's outcomes they want, it needs to be outcomes that they've conveyed to you. So it needs to be things that they've said in their language.
Good. So if I'm talking to a real estate agent, what currency does a real estate agent speak in? What are some of their currency words?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Listings.
I don't work with real estate agents, but they talk in clients, but they also talk in selling property. They talk in
listings.
The listings, absolutely. They talk about the pain of they have no problem selling, they have problems finding listings. Is always the thing that they're talking about, and I always can relate them to real estate, to recruitment because of the same model.
Yeah, and also musicians. The currency professional musicians would speak in would be gigs or concerts or band. What currency does your market speak? It's not always just clients. Now we work with coaches, and so coaches want clients. I'm a public speaker. I like to speak in terms of gigs or appearances, bookings, or the speeches or bookings. Yeah. So if you're brand new, catch up with us from last week, write down what the currency of your market is, and then a few keywords, some jargon that you can speak to them in. Okay, now I want to talk about how we can, and I'm going to get Cam to chime in on this in a minute, how we can start qualifying our new clients with our content before we even get to sell by chat and the qualifying step there. So in sell by chat, when you get to that module, many of you will remember that we start with a connection and then a qualification and then a conversion, right? Connect, qualify, convert. You don't try to convert them or marry them before you've qualified if they're appropriate for you or not. Connect, qualify, convert. Well, how do we attract the right people and also run off the people that we don't want to be working with? If we have any George Clooney fans, you might remember, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" where he says, his ma RUNNOFT. So some of the, if it's not a good lead for you, you want them to RUNNOFT, run off. That's Southern for left. So how do you exclude them as well as include the right people, exclude the wrong people? I'm going to give you a couple of examples and then we're going to do some hot seats. Has anybody ever posted content and then people raised their hands or messaged you, and then when you started messaging them, you're like, you're not even part of my target market. Why are you messaging me? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. So this is when your content needs more clarity and your message needs more clarity. Worked with a real estate, a coach that works with real estate agents a few weeks ago. He works with primarily middle-aged women, real estate agents on increasing their listings and their dollars per listing. And what he found out is he was getting lots and lots of chats with female real estate agents, but a lot of them were startups. A lot of them were brand new, had not closed anything, or only did 4 or 5 a year. So he was puzzled. He said, how do I get rid of the crap leads and get good leads? Well, so we looked at some of his content pieces, and he was using words like, and now in self-filling pipeline, it'll give you all the content pieces you need to produce. But he was using words like frustrated, struggling, scraping, exhausted, those kind of words. Nod your head if you see where this is going. And he said, and the chats that I am having, everybody is so broke. Because he's attracting starving people. There's a difference between hungry and starving. You want a hungry market. You don't want people that are scraping and starving, right? You need to have a market where they've done some business. So this is how you qualify them. I want you to get out a piece of paper or your iPad if you're fancy like that. I like paper. I am analog a lot of times. And write down some of the positive words for your market of your ideal client. For instance, Christopher might say to me, I want to work with ambitious women. So this is what we did with this real estate coach. I said to him, you want ambitious women. He said, okay, so I need to be talking to motivated women. And I said, no, I did not say motivated. Motivation is temporary and people tend to look at external sources for that. You want ambitious and driven women. How many of you had the picture of one certain woman pop into your head right now? An ambitious or driven woman, right? Is she scraping or struggling or frustrated, or is she pretty decisive? And even if she's had a turn of bad luck, she's kind of knows what she's doing, right? Okay, so we decided some of his positive words were ambitious and driven and multitasking and increasing per listing profit. Instead of looking for your next listings, it was increasing your per listing profit because we're going to assume that they've closed some before. He also said, we also worked on some positive things like your next 5 closings, not your are different than your first 5 or things like that. He worked on some qualifications of, he wanted people that were closing 3 to 4 things per month or quarter. He wanted people that had been in business over a year. He figured a certain threshold that was better for him, and he wrote down positive words. Then what we did is we drew a line across the page and we wrote the opposite of that. So Kate might say, okay, if I'm looking for somebody ambitious, the opposite of that is they're lazy or they're looking for easy solutions. So we don't necessarily want to sell easy or free. I will flat out put content that says I'm not free, easy, or cheap, and neither are the solutions I provide for my clients. Who am I repelling? I'm repelling all the tire kickers, right? And I'll say, if you have an idea, that's great. I'm not the coach for you. I'm working with successful coaches, speakers, and service providers who want to scale up to their next 6 figures without selling their soul or sacrificing their priorities. See what I did? Successful, next 6 figures. I named them by occupation. Call out who you want to raise their hand. If you're working with fitness professionals, say, Fit Pros. Do you want to double your current client value or double your client base, or call out their name and what are some qualifying characteristics? Wave at the camera if this makes sense to you. Okay, so write down the opposite of those positive words, and those opposite words are the ones you do not want to be using in your content or your posts. You do not want to attract those people. You can even write repelling content like, This is not for you if you're looking for a simple solution. And if you are really struggling to pay your bills every month, please just head down and focus on the 2 core things that you know so that you can have a little breathing room in your income. Come back to me later when you've got a little more margin. I can help you better when you're not in a desperate situation, right? You can also have that kind of content. Okay, so let's see. You guys are still writing. When you're done with writing your currency words, your attract words, and your opposite words, type done in the chat. Type done. This means in order to talk to this prospect, you have to know who they are and you have to know what they want. You have to talk about their frustrations without saying, are you frustrated? You don't want to attract frustrated people. You want to attract people that know there's a different way or a better way and that you have the answer, right? Okay, done. There's still a bunch of you. Is this helpful? Thumbs up if this is helpful. If this is helping you get some clarity, good. We have to know who we're talking to. Really also important. This may be a little, I'm going to try not to be controversial. It's also really important to know who to repel. So when I first started online, I was vocally trained at college and also broadcast trained. So I had actually trained my accent away. I can turn it off if I need to. It can also get really thick sometimes, sorry. What I learned is the more comfortable I got with my audience and with who I was communicating with, I also learned that if Southern was a turnoff for them, they maybe weren't for me because I'm pretty unapologetic about being a mama and I'm pretty unapologetic about hospitality and my kids and those kind of things. And so if anything, in some of those early marketing materials, I probably had a thicker drawl than I do now because I was repelling people that were Southern snobs. You know, just because I speak with a drawl don't mean I'm stupid. I think that's from Sweet Home Alabama. Dolly Parton says, I laugh when people call me a dumb blonde because I know I'm not dumb and also know I'm not a blonde. So the fact is you have to know who you're going to repel. So if there is, Stephen's still laughing, that's Dolly, that, you know, I'm just quoting Dolly. You have to know unapologetically who you are. So if you know that you don't want to work with people with a lot of kids, or you know that you work best with people with kids, or you know something that repels or attracts, say it. Speak it. Like if there's a certain age you want to work with, use their lingo. Like I'm not for you if all your texts are code for other things, or if your primary language is emojis. You know, speak to who your audience is so that they're not surprised when they meet you in some form. So if Joel, let's say that Joel watches my videos online or reads some of my materials and I have this persona, then he sees me speak on stage or he meets me in person or he private messages me and all of a sudden I'm Southern and all of a sudden I'm very politically outspoken and all of a sudden I'm really curt to him instead of how I was in those videos. It's what I call the flinch factor. And you know, the flinch factor we talked about with your photos and stuff a few weeks ago, but the flinch factor is also when you don't appear to be who you said that you were. So sometimes you need to turn the volume up on who you really are so it will repel the people that might dislike that later. Nobody can ever come into my funnel or into my space, honestly, and say that I fooled them about anything because what you see is what you get. I'm the original WYSIWYG. I mean, what you see is what you get. There's no filters. There's no apologizing. I do have good manners, but not to apologize about who I am. Okay, does that make sense? You have to know who you're speaking to. Don't turn off your accent. If you make dad jokes, make the dad jokes. Make the dad jokes. I love it. If you have a certain lifestyle, talk about your lifestyle, talk about your preferences, talk about your pets, talk about your kids. I did have one woman email me once about my email sequence and tell me that she was not interested in any stories that included anything about my kids, that me having kids was my choice and I didn't have to project it onto her. I'm like, bless her heart. I don't know what I did or what I said, but I've certainly not projected my kids onto anybody. They're just part of my natural work at home business life. In case you don't know, lady, I wrote the book called The Barefoot Executive. The whole reason I'm in business at home is because of my kids. So maybe I'm not the audience for you. Maybe I'm not the speaker for you. So I help those people by scrolling down and unsubscribing them. I don't even email back. I just go ahead and click the unsubscribe button because bless her heart, she's not going to accept anything I have to say anyway. And I'm certainly not going to stop talking about my kids. Okay. So who are you and who are you not? Who do you want to work with and who do you not want to work with? Okay. Helpful. Wave at the camera if that's helpful. Okay. Good. Good, good, good. This will now help you go develop your pieces of content in the self-filling pipeline and in Taki's Tacos. It will help you know who you're speaking to, how to talk to them. Ideally, you want people not in your market to almost not understand what you're talking about. Be like, what did Carrie even just say? What did Carrie even just say? I don't even know what she's talking about. Good. That probably means you're not part of my target market. Make sense? If you are creating content that is so generic that people that are messaging you are not anywhere in the sphere of what you're talking about, then you're not talking about the right things. So you have to be more specific. Say, middle-aged men, are you concerned about blah, 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 or is it just me? Who has suffered from the 3rd-degree burn on the scalp because you forgot sunburn on the one exposed place when you go out in the sun? Call out who you're talking to. And if you don't know a creative way to do it, just call it out. 40 or over. I did see a really interesting this or that the other day. If you've been through self-filling pipeline, you know what this means. This or that. Dr. Bruce says, love the true meaning of bless their heart. A northerner made up that true meaning, Dr. Bruce, because when I say it, it could have 15 different meanings. Sometimes we really do. And sometimes we just shorten it to bless. If we can't even be bothered to go beyond bless, you know you're in trouble. So you need to be able to create content that speaks to them very specifically. And sometimes you're just creating for engagement, just to get in the algorithm and see where people are. So for instance, I saw a this or that the other day that I thought was amazing. I have one that I like that's coffee. Like it shows a picture of light coffee and a picture of really dark coffee. And you just say, which one do you prefer? Or corner brownie or middle brownie, you know, and you'd be surprised at some of the debates that pop up on some of this silly stuff. But this particular one I thought was really interesting because my coaching, I tend to work with people in midlife, partially because I am midlife, but also because midlife business owners have a whole different range of challenges that millennials and Gen Z don't deal with yet. So this particular this or that said, ask a question if you're under 30, answer a question if you're over 30. Daniel, did you see that one too? You're nodding your head. I thought it was genius for engagement because what does it do? It lets you know the age of the people commenting on your thing. And it also lets you know what random questions people have in their mind at any given time. But if you work in an age sensitive market, I thought that was really smart. You could post content if you're working with midlife like I am saying, you know, list your worst / best thing about middle age. Right? And what is something about middle age you wish someone had told you ahead of time? Like you get a lot of answers like everything breaks when you're 41. Like all the systems start to wear out. Laura's like, right. See, and when you post content like that and you hit the right audience, that's what they do. They're like, dang, Carrie's right. Dang, that's right. And they nod at you and they engage with you and they're like, yeah. And why didn't nobody even tell me that there's like a warm up for menopause? It's called premenopause and it's like 8 or 9 years. What the heck? Right. And so then that's when people start engaging and you know you've hit your audience. Okay. You have to create content that attracts and repels. Make sense? Yes? Okay, so messaging, clarity of your niche, who you're talking to, how you write your content. I want to do coaching questions today. Now that we've done some coaching and training, first thing before we get to questions, I want you to type something in the chat that you've loved, you've learned, or you're going to implement already. Type something in the chat. There are 51 of you here, something in the chat that you've learned, loved, or that you're going to implement already. This or that, this or that. Speak their language. Yep, use their currency for sure. This or that. And guys, the this or that is one of the types of content mentioned in self-filling pipeline, I believe. Speak their language, be polarizing. Yeah, you don't have to be insulting to be polarizing, but I think you do have to be a little polarizing for sure. Create content that attracts and repels, for sure. My husband is a fisherman, and he can go through his tackle box and tell me, oh, the bass will like this, but only the largemouth bass. The smallmouth bass won't go after this. I'm like, it all has hooks and is shiny and makes noise when you shake it. I don't even know, you know, but he knows which one repels and which one attracts. We should know that about our market too. Speak their language. Engagement that has your peeps engaged. Yeah, we're not worried about large amounts of engagement. We're worried about appropriate engagement. Let me say that again. We're not worried about large amounts of engagement. Oh, I only got 2 comments on that. Yeah, but were they the right 2 comments? Because you can really start a lucrative business with the right 1 or 2 engagements. Be true to my voice. Yes. Language is important. Yes. Use language to filter and drive engagement. Yeah. For instance, if you are somebody, I know this can be controversial. I know you guys like to laugh at the fact that Taki and I use very different vocabulary. Like, I do not swear at all, and Taki like lets it fly, right? If you are a swearer, then you should swear in your content so that people are not surprised on the inside. Because if you're a swearer and Darrell is offended by that and he subscribes to your stuff and all of a sudden he's paying you to swear at him, he might be triggered by that. He may have had a verbally abusive somebody in his life that was some of their trigger. I mean, you have to be who you are upfront even before they pay you. You have to be careful with trauma, with triggers, with all those kind of things that don't hide who you are. So if you're a swearer, swear in your content. Yes, your mom is probably watching your Facebook page. I love it when I see people say, sorry, mom. I love it. It gives me life. It's so amazing. I also love it when I'm on some of these live stream and they apologize to me. Like I'm the official big sister and mom in marketing, apparently. They all apologize for their language. Be clear on who you are. Repel the wrong people. What can I call out about my audience? We'll talk about that in a minute, Russell. Excluding is as important as including. Yes. Create content with their currency, refine language, positive words, polarizing. Dr. Bruce says already implementing repelling content. Good. Speak the language. Stop using words that attract the wrong clients. Yep. Keep working on the client I'm looking for. Steven says we can send people to him to help resolve triggers. Okay, Steven, we'll keep that in mind. Good to know because I'm sure I trigger a lot of people. We had a client a couple weeks ago from the UK, not in this program, but in Black Belt. I run the Monday call and they messaged support and said, is there anybody else that runs a UK call or is Carrie my only choice? I thought I could be offended by that, but I'm really not. I mean, evidently our energy just didn't match. Bless. Okay, so I learned this the hard way. My past marketing almost exclusively attracted BAC doctors, which were broke chiropractors. That's funny. All right, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. So true, Bradley. Welcome back this week. Bradley, if you guys remember, was crushing it last week with his sales. All right, what is your question around your messaging and your content? How to attract, who to attract? What is your question around this topic that we're talking about today? Those that are new, we like to center around this topic for our most effective coaching time together. So what questions do you have? In the chat box, type your question and 2 options. A question and 2 different options you want us to help you consider. So Stephen might say, my question is, should I do long form posts or what's the best content to attract and repel my audience? Should I do long form posts or should I do video, right? 2 options. So throw me some questions. Let's do that. Cam, how you doing over there? Looking like you're in the witness protection program, bro. There you are. Hey.
I'm on customer support at the moment.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, go do customer support. I got this. Okay, questions? Who has questions? Sarah, you're supposed to ask a question and then give me 2 options. Question and 2 options. Also, that question makes me think you haven't been through all the modules, because clients really doesn't teach an opt-in form. Just FYI, clients doesn't teach an opt-in form. We don't teach email list building in clients. We teach organic client getting through sell by chat and social. That help? Oh, raising hands. Yeah. So with raising hands, yes, that's what you're going to do in clients, is engaging content, raising hands, and building authority for sure. Okay. Who else has a question around your messaging? Who wants to share some messaging they already wrote while we did this exercise? Raise your hand if you want to share. Go ahead, Stephen, unmute yourself. Russell, did I see your hand too?
I work with ambitious professionals, rising star managers in corporate that are looking, they get triggered. Yeah. So I help them resolve self-sabotage, beat their burnout. And I'm trying to narrow the focus of my signature system to, it's called Get Promoted Fast currently. And it's part of a bigger corporate program called Predictive High Performance. And I'm trying to actually, the promise is in 90 days to do something, but I know that it's a much longer journey to self-mastery.
Yeah. Yep.
So do I promise them to go from being unseen to an indelible leader, or do I, and is the program about accelerating career success, the signature system I mean, or is it about just getting promoted fast? What's a bigger...
Stephen, did you listen to the question that I gave at all? Because you just asked me a question about your program. Okay, I'm going to speak in terms of content first. Content, hand-raising content. Okay, that's what we're talking about. So I would say most leaders think they're good leaders by default. Most leaders do not think they have a lot of work to do as leaders. They're either promoted enough or arrogant enough that they don't think that's the problem. So we have to sell them on the problem. So you can do a couple of things. You could say, promote, hire faster. If you feel like you're sabotaging yourself on your career path, you might want to watch the video that I just shot. Like, promote, hire faster. Do you guys see why he didn't say, hey, you want to be a better leader? Watch this video. Nobody really wants to be a better leader. I mean, they do, but they really want to make more money. They want to have a better position, etc. And they won't listen until you have their attention about one of the things that's actually causing a problem. So promote, hire faster, be recognized or validated, or feeling, hey, C-suite, feeling invalid or unseen, blah, blah, blah. Hit on those core things that get them in the gut, right?
That's super helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So that's your content. Now, as far as your program, that's a bigger question, but the way you sell it is not with, hey, be a better leader. That can be a bonus in there or something that you address. What you really want to sell is their promotability, their vitality, their visibility, their esteem, their contribution to the team, etc. Make sense?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Russell, unmute thyself. Let's talk about the content. What did you already write? Because I knew you had a question about how do you call out your audience? Who do you work with? Remind everybody.
You hit me a message between the eyes. So I'm like, all right, well, now I'm questioning my message, right? So I normally I'm talking with, passionate but frustrated business owners, right? So frustrated was the word you hit on the head. I'm getting clients, but the question is, am I getting enough clients in that? Is my message on point? Is it like it's sort of getting some of the audience, but maybe it's not getting all of the audience? The audience particularly is those people that are in that sort of 40 to 50 bracket where they are doing the midlife stuff. They are frustrated. They are looking at a change. And so frustration is definitely a word that comes up. But to a degree, you're also right in that there's this change to another business. And a lot of the time when they're changing, there's no cash. There's like, I'm going through a downturn and I'm sort of there to support them. And I'm just making sure, checking in that I'm not doing the hero piece, which is helping them just go from that bottom place. But at the same time, I'm getting conversions.
Yeah. So what's your program do for them? What does it solve for them or walk them through?
So their next 60K clients in 10 weeks.
And the way that you're attracting them is by calling them passionate but frustrated?
Yeah. Because I want to work with passionate people. I can't work with people who are apathetic to the business and what they're doing.
Right.
So that's the one side. That's for me. The other side, the frustrated is, I'm spinning my wheels. I'm 3 steps forward and even 3 steps back. I've had wins and now I'm just spinning. So it's usually they plateaued.
Gotcha. Okay. I just shot a video about the midlife plateau myth, the midlife income myth. 3 ways to generate 60K in your next 60 days, even if it's a shift in your career.
Yes, talk about that.
I called out midlife. I called out shift in career. I said next 60K instead of first 60K because you don't necessarily want brand new people.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
It does. And in the old school marketing terms, we call that a dog whistle, but and 100% because it's only the whistle that they hear. So I love it. Yeah. And so the change thing I haven't really been pushing. So I love that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And so if they're young and arrogant and don't think they've hit midlife, they're probably not for you.
And
right?
I don't want them. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they're a little too apathetic to think they could generate 60K, they're not going to raise their hand.
I want people who've had a few hits.
Fight for it. Yeah. Might even use a creative with Russell. When you say that, I'm thinking Russell Crowe and Cinderella Man, right? That's your target market, the age, the beat up by life, promotability, whatever, shift, hormones, whatever it is. So call them, don't be afraid to call them out. Here's the thing, Russell, you don't have to change all your content. Test it once a day for the next several days on different platforms and see who resonates or who asks for it or who clicks it or likes it or says, dang, I feel seen, right? That's what they want to feel. They want to feel seen like Russell knows, right?
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nick, you could use stuck. It does tend to be a little overused in the industry. Stuck is a little undefined. If you're going to use stuck, make sure you explain what stuck means for sure. Okay, Bradley has oh wait, I missed a couple questions. Whoops, scrolling back. Phil says, Russell says, we worked on Russell's. Okay, Phil says, should every piece of content have a call to action? Option 1 is yes, option 2 is no. Phil, I think every piece of content has an inherent call to action. Some are more overt than others, like comment below, but others could be more subtle, like where my runner's at, blah, blah, blah. And that's asking for an inherent click or heart or whatever. But if you look at the self-filling pipeline, and if you also look in the announcements section at a post that I put in there that talks about the launch calendar, the social media content calendar, it'll tell you how often to do your overt asks. Not to ask every single day for the sale, but I love engagement, and I think a call to action is something like or share or comment or asking them this or that question. This or that question, in my opinion, is a call to action question. So that's where I'm coming from when I say everything has an inherent call to action. Phil, does that clarify it all, or does that make it more difficult? Unmute yourself and talk to me.
Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, that does answer it. I tend to get a bit stuck in the weeds with these sorts of things. And it's like, how often should I be doing these call to actions? And I'm very much one of those what Taki calls as a loser in one of his things, where he says, you've got the sleazy salespeople at one end, and then you've got the people that give, but are losers at the end of the day because they're never actually asking for anything. And so, yeah, I always do struggle with, well, how often should we actually be saying, hey?
Okay, so I'm going to spotlight Phil so that I can look into his eyes. Phil, listen to me. Call to action means we're training them to be responsive to us. Call to action does not always mean asking for a sale.
Mm-hmm.
Call to action means corner brownie or middle brownie. There's a debate going on at my house. You are training them to be responsive to you. Why? Well, the psychologists in the room would tell you it's so that when I do ask for a sale or for more details or for them to be involved with something, I've trained them to respond to me, right? So you don't have to ask for a sale. So here's what I want you to do so that you can be a recovering giver.
Yeah.
You can still give, but ask them something. Ask for a comment or a response or an amen. Like that's what we do in the South. Can I get an amen, right? Or a thumbs up, or I like some of those posts that say, okay, let's keep it PG, but post in the comments the third photo on your camera roll. I want to see, what you guys have been up to. So that's also training them for engagement and responsiveness. So when you're in the habit of just giving and giving and giving, you're actually depriving people of interacting with you. So call to action is training them to be responsive in some way. And then every 5 posts, now go back to the module to be sure, but I'm going to say while you're doing this, every 5 might be, hey, I'm getting some smart business owners together to talk about blah, blah, blah. Who'd be interested in that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Or, hey, I'm putting a group together too, or hey, I just shot a video about, so maybe every 5th one. And here's the deal. Okay. This is how I train my kids, Phil. I just want you to know, I'm going to use the same tactic with you. We call it the power of the third party.
Right.
You write down the calendar of when you're going to post what.
Yep.
And then you post according to the calendar. And then when you get to Thursday and you're feeling queasy because it's an ask post, I want you to hear my voice in your head saying, but Phil, the calendar says that on Thursday we post this.
Yeah.
So with my kids, it was, I'm not telling you to go to bed. I'm telling you that the timer says it's time to go to bed. So we agreed that when the timer went off, we were going to bed. The power of the tool. So you don't have to be the bad guy. So Phil doesn't have to beat Phil's self up, but Phil could say, oh, the calendar says on Thursday, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And so then that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I promise you, money will not come out of your account in reverse. I can promise you, no one will aim a gun at you. I'm assuming you don't live in Texas. And also, I'm telling you, you'll be safe. It's okay. Even if you get a negative comment, it's okay. Delete it, block them and bless them. It's fine. But the calendar says this is what we post on that day.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Get out of your head. Get out of your head. Stop being a loser. We need to train them to respond to you, right?
Yeah.
Train them to respond to you. Say that. I'm training them to respond to me.
I'm training them to respond to me.
Good. Okay. Now do your content calendar and it's going to be great. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, for being such a good sport. I love it when you guys let me give you tough love. Tell us next week how that went. Okay. Let's see. David says how I attract business owners in my niche in a Facebook group. My niche is nursery landscape business owners. And the groups I found thus far are more for consumers who want help with plant questions. 1, keep looking for more groups. 2, engage in the group with content aimed at consumers. Or 3, figure out something else. I'm going to figure this one out for you, David. Hang on. I'm going to go grab a link from the group. It's also under announcements, just so you know, anybody else that wants to look for it. And it's about doing the manual ad when you feel like the group method is not organic to you, is not authentic to you, doesn't feel like it's in integrity with you, or that you're finding the wrong groups. This is the one I suggest. Okay, Cam, what date did we decide that was? I thought I added it to the front. Do you remember?
Um,
July 5th, maybe?
See, it's for it was either June 28th or like July 5th, one of the two, because we always end up getting it incorrect the first time.
Right. Okay. So I believe it was July 5th, the July 5th live coaching call with Taki. I'm going to go.
Yeah,
pull that
Lauren
link.
just said she thinks it was the July 5th, 6th.
Yeah. Okay. So if you go into guides and if you go down to the live coaching calls, which is guide number 17, if you go to the July 5th, 6th one, I was off. It's only Taki and Cam, and they talk about how to do the manual ad and where to find those people and how to target those people. David, that's what I suggest for you. It's very effective. I talked to somebody a couple days ago that had just had 400 new people in their group because of that method. But when groups are not a fit for you, I don't like to do groups because I'm in the entrepreneur and coach space. So those groups are pretty overrun, and that's not necessarily who I'm looking for. I would do much better probably like in the menopause groups or the midlife groups or the empty nester groups. So think also where your people might be, but I would just skip down to some people that you knew and do Taki's method there. Okay. If you have a problem with that, if you can't find it, or if you're struggling with that, you let me know. But what I do know is that Facebook gets smarter every day when you start that method, and it will start recommending even more and more of the right people to you. Okay. You can also go look on LinkedIn where people are more clear about what they do, and then search for them on Facebook. Okay. It's a little more manual in a niche like yours, but it can be done for sure. Got it?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, David. Shane says, my wife has a program for women and she uses the messaging, increase your visibility and opportunity for career progression, earning capacity, and personal fulfillment. This was a flashback for Stephen. Stephen, I think that was put in the chat when we were talking about yours. Bradley says, I believe Bradley has the Alabama accent. My first question is this: I have 2 position statements I'm considering. I help 6-figure business owners frustrated with the day-to-day grind grow a profitable, valuable, sellable 7-figure business that thrives without them. Bradley, you're going to have to open up your mind. Number 2, I help 6-figure business stuck in the day-to-day grind build a profitable, valuable, sellable 7-figure business that thrives without them. Where's Bradley? Hey, Bradley's in his car office again. How are you, Brad?
What's up, y'all? Hey.
Okay. He said y'all. Okay. Bradley, if I'm at a cocktail party with you, assuming I went to one, and I ask you what you do, would you say I help 6-figure business owners frustrated with the day-to-day grind grow a profitable, valuable, sellable 7-figure business that thrives without them?
Probably.
Or is there a more concise way you can say that is my question. Let's put it more in Alabama. Let's put it more in, I don't want to say bro speak. I want to say, y'all say brother a lot, like everybody's brother, every friend's brother. Yep. So let's say I help successful business owners free themselves from the daily grind and create a sellable asset.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
Now, in your content, you can do further qualifications, like from 6 to 7. Like we specialize in 6-figure business owners moving to 7 so they can be scalable. We help successful business owners who feel chained to their profitable business put systems in place so they can sell. So I like the idea of what you're saying, but I think we can do it in less corporate speak, in less businessy speak, more social media speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what I was looking for, because I mean, ultimately, that is what we do, and we do help them. Because I didn't want to just say it was only to take businesses from 6 to 7 figures. There's a lot of people that say that, but doing it in a way that the owner is not the one that's doing all of the work at 7 figures. We have a training called the Rainmaker's Dilemma that specifically touches on that topic. And so I wanted to do it in a way that's both profitable, it's a valuable company, and potentially sellable. Now, a lot of the people that we work with, they're so early in their career that they're not having the aspiration to sell it right now, but they have this idea of like, yeah, I would love to be able to sell it one day, 10, 15, 20 years into the future. And so they can get behind that once we're able to say it. And so that's why I was wanting to ask the question is, how much in the positioning statement do I actually have to articulate both the aspirational aspect of what we do, as well as what we're trying to pull people away from, what they don't want.
I would do your aspirational content on longer form. Like if you do a long video, I would just touch on it. I would do that in your paid programs. I would do it maybe once a week, but in your core stuff, it would be freeing up people from the day-to-day and scaling to 7 figures without selling their soul, without, the kids growing up without you, and, being able to hit baseball practice with Chick-fil-A on the days that was necessary.
True statement.
I know. I see it. I see that Chick-fil-A in that baseball cap, and I think there's a kid in the back seat.
There is. Yeah. We just finished baseball practice. That's right.
There you go. See? Talk to the baseball dad that has a great business but can't afford to miss business and doesn't want to miss baseball.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I help others solve the problem that I solve for myself.
Right. Most of us, that's how we get in business.
Yeah.
But the aspirational doesn't have to be until a sales piece or until you're doing that future models that we talked about last week. The aspirational doesn't have to be in your core statement.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, the frustrated part was one thing I definitely, which you already touched on in a roundabout way, because I don't know if a lot of the 6-figure business owners necessarily would consider themselves frustrated. And so that's the part where I was like, well, are they really frustrated with the day-to-day grind, or they just don't really know any other way except to do it the way that they're doing it, hence be the rainmaker in their business.
Right. And they may not be frustrated, but they may not feel like they can take off, or they may feel trapped.
Exactly.
Or they may feel, especially right now in the labor market, they might feel, imprisoned by their profitable business, the golden handcuffs, right? So I would talk about those things. Those are always going to hit a little more than aspiration, especially in like economics like we have right now.
Yeah. Okay. Good points. Thank you.
All right. So helpful. Anybody helpful? Deborah says, how to use my case study. A, use my client's value ladder. Option B, ? Deborah, you're going to have to clarify this for me because I don't know what you're talking about. I need some clarification. I don't mean I don't know what you're talking about because you're not doing a good job. I just mean I don't have enough information. Go ahead. Unmute thyself.
Thanks. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, gotcha. So let me ask some clarifying questions. Deborah, how long have you been in the program?
2 weeks, almost.
Oh, perfect. Okay. How to use a case study. So case study is just a term that Taki uses for your initial cohort of clients in your group program.
Okay.
In order for you to have proof of concept, testimonials, and results to share with ideally your next clients, your next cohort. So don't get hung up on that term. I don't use the term case study in my business at all.
I was thinking of it differently then.
Yeah, and some people are, special people from academia, and people that come from a science background, and people that come from a police officer background. Case study means different things to different people. So what he means is your beta group, your test group, your guinea pigs. We don't want to call them guinea pigs. People would rather be a case study than a guinea pig. But in your head, that's what they are. Your first cohort, your test subjects, your crash test dummies. Don't use that in your marketing either. Just trust me. Okay, make sense? Is that helpful?
Yes.
So we use our case study. We use our first cohort for what? For cash, Deborah. We're using it for cash. We're using it to build our business with. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm glad I asked some questions. Is that helpful? Yeah, good. Okay. This program, just so you guys know that your business should be evolving, this program has had about 5 different names, 4 or 5 different evolutions. It has landed on clients. It will stay on clients. But at one point, it was called the case study program. Okay, so that languaging is a little confusing. Christopher says, how do I go about building content? A, ask my target market what their top interests, pain points are, share solutions or those, collaborate with people who have solutions for them. B, work with one-on-one clients, test out frameworks, and then share what works. Where's Christopher?
Right here. I suppose I should have written for B what you just said. Do a beta group and.
You could. Have you been through a self-filling pipeline yet?
Not yet. I'm like halfway through the guides.
Okay. Have you done your triangle yet for your program?
Yep, I've done a few different versions of it.
Nice. Okay. So sometimes the easiest way is to create one piece of content based on each point around your largest circle, or the frustration that points to each of those one points. But when you go to self-filling pipeline and also look at Taki's Tacos, which is in the same guide, it will give you examples of hand-raising content, where to pull your content from. This may be controversial. I don't ask my audience anything unless I'm just doing a poll for engagement. I feel like, since I am a lot of them, that I know them better than they know themselves, and I don't want them telling me what they think I want to hear, if that makes sense. So I would say post content based on your triangle that's going to point to you as the authority. And you write that based on the sample posts in the hot leads guide and the self-filling pipeline guide.
Okay.
Now, if you want to do polls or questions or whatever, here's the big secrets about polls and questions. Always ask questions that you know the answer to, meaning you know how they're going to answer. Like, what are your top 2 frustrations as a business owner, or as a football coach, or as a yoga practitioner? Marketing and new leads, retaining clients past their initial appointment, getting people to show up on time, having good health. You know, there are 5 core problems. Well, guess what? Your program answers every single point of the poll, every single question they can answer, because then that points to you as knowing the answers to all those questions. Does that make sense, Christopher?
Yes.
Okay. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Wave at the camera, you guys, if that was helpful for anybody else. Yeah. Kate's like, I like that question and poll answer. A little hack. Y'all ready? Start with your offer. Work backwards and create 5 answers. Create the question that leads to those 5 answers. You can be your own Alex Trebek, right? You create your own Jeopardy, because you ask the question, they answer one or all of those things, and then who has the answer? Oh, look, I have the answer. I am so surprised you answered that way. The number 1 tends to be this and this, and I talk about that in my next video. Or in your next video, Kate can say, hey, based on the poll on Tuesday, your number 1 frustration is this and your number 2 is this. So I shot a video today telling you how I solve those in my business and how I can help you do the same thing. Comment below if you want some help with that. That made me look like a genius, right? But it was the points of my triangle. Okay, let's see. Russell Bradley, we answered that. Steven says loves my tough love. Good. Good. I don't have another setting. I have compassion and tough love. I don't think there's much in between. I have like tank tops or turtlenecks. There's like no middle ground. I was in my closet today. I'm like, tank tops or hoodies? Where's my middle clothes? Well, it's because I live in Texas and there's no seasons except hot. All right. Laura posted a link in the chat for the manual method to add prospects to Facebook. Thank you, Laura. That was a good share. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. Whew. Have we been a whirlwind today? Raise your hand if you feel like we've been through it today. We've done a lot of coaching today. Type something in the chat that you've loved or learned or will implement, or a reason that you're glad you came today. Something along those lines in the chat. Sabina says, loved every minute. Okay, Sabina, open your mic while everybody else is typing. Open your mic and say, let's talk about weight loss. Let's see what you're saying. Nick says, it's good to be the student and not the teacher for once. You know what, Nick? I 100% get that. I totally get what you're saying.
Hi.
Hey, there you are. Okay, so we've talked about your weight loss stuff before, I think. Have we not?
Yes.
You and I've chatted. Okay,
yes.
So it's not hard to answer the question about weight loss. You could ask a question about What have you found to be the biggest obstacles between you and your optimum weight? What is everybody going to say? What are the 4 things everybody is going to say? Y'all type into the chat, help her out. What is everybody going to answer? Type in the 4 reasons you personally are not or struggle with getting to your goal weight. Type it in the chat. Hurry, fast fingers. Cookies. Darrell said cookies. Hormones, emotional eating, consistency, nutrition, exercising, diet, exercise, rest, don't know how, I want to change my diet, I'm lazy, exercise, discipline, diet, exercise, motivation, hormones.
Lonely mouth.
Lonely mouth. Boredom, bad habits, lack of sleep, craving sugar. Okay, so you could say physiological Chick-fil-A. I hear you, brother. Chick-fil-A, yes. So it's going to boil down to your market's common frustrations. They're too busy to eat healthy. They think it's too expensive to eat healthy. They don't know where to start. They have bad habits or emotional eating, right? Or they lack accountability. Accountability needs to be big too. So narrow down those common objections that you hear from people. The reason I don't is because I's. Answer that. And then you ask in your group, what are the main obstacles between you and your optimal weight? And they're going to, and here's the other thing, Sabina, you're only giving them the options that you want them to answer. There's not a, hey, fill in your thing here. Or you can put in one extra other, please explain, just in case somebody has something. And there will be some snowflake that says, because I have a metabolic condition, because I was diagnosed with something when I was 4 and they've done surgery and can't cry. Okay, bless your heart, I can't help you. My program's not for you. So you can do that, but you only give them the answers that your program points to.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
It's not about, hey, name the reason you want to lose weight, because that's too varied and also personal. And we've already talked about weight shaming and all that kind of stuff. You can't answer that for me, but what you can know is what the obstacles are between me and there, because those are the ones you hear from clients over and over and over and over.
Can I ask, I have a group and it's quite safe space for them, but
yeah,
I'm getting quite a few people now on my personal page. Is there any way, if I answer that question, my only thing is I don't want people to feel shame or anything like that, because they might, you know, they might not want to put it out there on social media that they're not at their optimal weight. So I want them to feel safe.
No, I think I would ask it in the group. But I probably would also ask it on my personal page. I could go post a weight loss question on my page. I think people would answer.
Okay, cool.
Even when I was losing weight, I'd have people say, oof, I want to look like you, but I also want Snickers, right? And so most people that aren't at their optimal weight but are striving are pretty open about it. The people that are super quiet will be your morbidly obese people typically. And guys, I can address that in case you're new. I'm not shaming anybody. I can address that because that was me. So those people will be a little more quiet about it. But you can even say, we're discussing these topics in my free group. Private message me if you want an invite or join us over there so that some of your lurkers will have a safe space to go raise their hand.
Okay, Carrie, just as got you on the line, one more second. Have you got any ideas about what qualifying questions I could ask? Because I get lots of messages from people.
Yeah. What have you done before? How much would you say you've spent to lose weight? How long have you been working for this goal? Is this a now problem or a later problem? I mean, you know, what is your motivation for losing weight? If they just want to look good for a picture, they're probably not your most motivated client. If they've just been diagnosed with a kidney issue or something, you know, they're going to be more motivated. So those are some different qualifying ones.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jerome, who's anorexic? I know you're not calling me anorexic, Jerome. Don't make me come over there. Yeah, and eating disorders is a whole other thing. Talked to a mama yesterday that was dropping her kid off at an inpatient because it was just a life-threatening kind of thing. And it was a teenage boy, which is even harder for support because people don't think boys deal with that. And it's just heartbreaking. So, okay. I want to go scroll up here as we wrap up today and look at what you learned. Quick fire coaching. Yeah, we did it today, right? Cam says mind blown. Let's see. Good to be the student, not the teacher. Know the answer to your questions. Yep. Don't ask a question you don't have the answer for. Don't ask a question that your program doesn't solve for them. Train them to respond to you. All of it has been super helpful, says Kirsten. Love the tips on messaging. Good. Love this tribe. So grateful for the connection and clarity. Same, Stephen. Michael says, reminder, check if just 1 or 2 people have responded to the posts. Michael, open your mic and tell me what you mean by that.
Hey there. Yeah, you were just asking what things I was going to take away from today's session. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a very good one. So I'm literally writing some replies right now.
Nice. Also, I didn't know you were English, so I like hearing your voice because I've only ever just read you in text before.
Well,
yeah.
there you go.
Part of England? What part are you from, Michael?
London.
London. Yeah, my
England.
best friend.
Yeah.
My best friend lives in North York.
Oh yeah,
So,
very nice.
Yeah, she's a northern girl. So
Yeah, different world.
She's a different kind of girl for sure. She is. I adore her. Okay. Simplifying my message to my perfect future client. Train them to respond. Don't call your clients crash test dummies. Really, Laura? That's what you're taking away today. Okay. Kate says, love the polls and top 3 questions. Shoot a video with a response. Knowing how to use words to attract the right people. It was useful to figure out who I want to attract, who I don't. Create my beta program for cash and testing things. Build content based on the triangle/planets. Phil says sticking to a diet. Oh, this is when they're answering the questions. Gayon says, I've been attracting the wrong audience. I'll work on my messaging. Yes. Okay, I'm skipping all the hormone and diet stuff. Love the answers to the last questions and teaching on language, going to work on language and target client, going to continue the modules quickly and do the work. Yep. The best way to grow connection, 25 in the morning, 25 in the afternoon through suggested friends. Yes, David, and that's in the link that Laura posted above. Laura, could you drop that in the chat one more time since we've scrolled so far past it? Pretty please. What question could Sabina particularly ask to see if they have more money to invest, especially if it's a high ticket item? Great question, Scott and Britta. My dogs are going bananas. Hang on just 1 second. Every time somebody comes home. All right, so the number 1 question you could ask is, what have you spent on this before? What programs have you been a part of? When they start listing those retail programs like Jenny Craig, et cetera, or they tell you, oh, I've easily spent $2,000 on diets and programs, then you know that they've spent some money. Okay? All right, here's the link for the manual prospects that Laura just posted in. We're gonna wrap up with that today. If everybody is good, open up your mic and give everybody a round of applause or a whoop whoop or whatever Taki has us do. I forget. He does the testing. You guys are amazing. I love working with you, and I'll see you next week. It'll make you feel better if you go sell something. So we'll talk soon. Bye, you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.